Well, this is different. Yes, hi everyone, welcome to our post-Geekout reaction for Suicide Squad. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And for any of you who are new to this channel, the post-Geekout reaction is not a review. It's just our open, honest discussion about the thing that we just watched right after we watched it, and that does include spoilers. The review for this will be going up later, and I said this is different because normally the post-Geekout reaction goes up at the exact same time as the review, so that anybody who just wants to hear our discussion rather than the review can listen to that instead, and anybody who finishes up the review and wants to hear the spoilers can come over here. This is going up way before the review for a couple of reasons. The first one being that for anybody who follows me on Twitter, you know that my computer broke this week. It just flat out finally died. I've had problems with it ever since I got 2.5 years ago, and it just finally kicked the bucket. So I had to get a new computer, and that one was broken as well. Had to return it because I learned my lesson from that last computer. If you get a brand new computer, you're like, oh, there's a couple of problems in here, but maybe it will fix themselves. They will not fix themselves. Take it back, get it fixed, get it swapped out. So I got swapped out. I got one that right now, knock on wood, is working. Sorry to the people below us. So right now it's working. However, I have to learn a brand new editing software. So for the next month, my videos are gonna be a little bit weird because I have to completely learn something new. I've been using Cyberlink Power Director, I believe was the name of it, which is basically the meat and potatoes editing program. It's super simple, super basic. If you do not want all the big fancy stuff, that's the one to go with. However, with this new computer, I've now upgraded to Adobe Premiere, which is the really big fancy one. However, it's way harder to learn. So yeah, the reason why the review is coming out later is because I have to sit down and actually learn how to use that program in order to make the review. With this, I just put the thing we're talking about right now right up on screen. That's it. I fix the coloring, bam, we're done. So that's why this one's going up earlier. But the other reason why this is going up earlier is because I'll be totally honest with you guys. What I say here is almost going to be exactly what I say in the review, because I'm just going to get this right out of my system right now. If any of you out there like this film, fine, but stop watching this right now. Because I know that I kind of have a reputation for being fairly positive about things, for going, hey man, you're allowed to like whatever you like, that's awesome. I fucking hated this film. And whenever I watch a movie, after I've watched it, I then go online and watch reviews that other people have made just to kind of get a sense of where I stand compared to everyone else. I think I hated this more than anyone else out there. I have not found someone online who hated this as much as I did. I'm going to go off on this thing. And like I said, when I make the review, it's basically going to be the exact same stuff minus the spoilers, and it's going to be a little bit more thought out. I'm going to put some jokes in there because I don't even know if I'm gonna make fucking sense during this, cause you can back me up on this.
Yeah.
You were there at the theater with me. I was shaking with anger at this film. Literally shaking, like in my chair. Like, I've never acted that way at a film. And I just wanna refresh anybody who is new to this channel. Every single year, I go back and look at what all the critics out there said were the worst films of the year, and then I marathon all those movies over the course of a week to make my own personal worst movies of the year list, but also just to give myself like an idea of what the worst films actually are. Not so that I go and see an average film and go, oh, this movie was terrible. It's so that I can actually kind of get an idea of what an actual terrible film is. It's so that I can cleanse the palate and I don't just go in there and harshly judge average films. This thing is easily making it on my worst of the year list. I was blown away by how much I hated this thing. So, if you enjoyed it, kudos to you. You're not gonna like this video. Please come back later for something else that you will enjoy. How do you feel about it before I go off on this thing?
I thought it was a mess.
Yeah, you didn't hate it nearly as much as I did.
No, I did not. I found it tolerable. I think the reason why I found it more tolerable is because I stayed awake throughout the whole thing. During Batman vs. Superman, I literally fell asleep, and the only part I woke up around was like when Wonder Woman showed up to kick ass.
That's one thing that I've been saying about Wonder Woman this whole time. The reason why people love Wonder Woman so much in that film, everybody's like, oh, they totally captured her. And I was like, yeah, they captured her. Wait a minute. As like, I was applying that first, but I went, well, there in the first part of the movie, she was kind of like Catwoman. But then in the last half of the film, that's when she showed up and was actually Wonder Woman. And it hit me. The reason why everyone was applauding her is because she actually did something.
Yes.
She popped up where these two sad sacks have spent 2 fucking hours just going, I don't even know if I should be saving people. If there's a 1% chance that he could be our enemy. It's like, we've just had that for 2 fucking hours. And then she shows up and it's just like, let's be fucking superheroes and kick some ass. And it's like, people are applying it like it's the second coming of movies in general. And it's like, this is the dawn of a new era of cinema. It's like, no, we just had a superhero pop up in the middle of a fucking sad sack show. That's all that was. If Thor had popped in out of nowhere as well, people would be like, yes, oh my god, something. How great would it have been if Thor just came down and smacked Doomsday like into the river, opened up the Bifrost gate and like took him into like Mordor or some shit. It's like, yeah, there we go. Now we won't harm anybody. But Gotham was completely abandoned. We had this under cover. Shut the fuck up. No, it was not abandoned.
Yeah. So back to Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
There was definitely more action than in Batman vs Superman, but it was a mess of actions. Like
that's one thing that I will say about this film. I did hate this more than Batman vs Superman, but one thing I will give it over Batman vs Superman is there are fucking personalities in this film. People do have emotions. People do have lines of dialogue that are quippish, or at least attempting to be quippish. Like, people have personalities. People actually feel like characters in this. I will give this movie that. So, which, I will also say this about this film, because I was like honestly thinking to myself, did I hate this as much as Fantastic Four? And the answer is no. Fantastic Four is definitely still worse. Because when I saw Fantastic Four, after I saw it, I went over to a convenience store to get myself a soda, and as I stood there at the counter looking across at all the cigarettes behind the counter, I haven't smoked in 10 years. That is the first time in 10 years I got a craving. Like, I was lucky. Like, I didn't smoke for long. And by the way, kids, don't smoke. It's a terrible habit. I didn't smoke for long. I smoked for like 3-4 months in college just to try it out. And the moment that I got to that point in which I was laying awake at night one night and went, I kind of want a cigarette right now. That's when I went, oh, this is starting to turn into an addiction. Stop it now. And that's why I just shut it down. And because I shut it down so early, I didn't really have any cravings past like the first couple months. This is the first time in 10 years that I had a craving is after seeing Fantastic Four, because I was like, I just need something different than this. I didn't get that with this film. So that's why I know it was better than Fantastic Four, but I also know it was better than Fantastic Four because Fantastic Four, you could feel that no one was trying. And I will give this film this, despite the fucking mess that it is, you can tell people tried. Yeah. You can tell these actors gave it their all. You can tell the director was really trying. It just was a mess.
It's like, I especially loved Will Smith, who played Deadshot. I felt like he was like the best actor, and it's like either that or he was the best character because they spent more time fleshing him out compared to everyone else.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. Yeah. I wouldn't say loved him, but I was like, he's okay. He's okay, and Amanda Waller I thought was okay. Like, those are the two characters in this whole thing. I'm like, I think they're okay. And it is because, Viola Davis was trying her hardest in this. She definitely should have been Amanda Waller. And even when they give her a mad line, she's able to sell it. Mm-hmm. And Will Smith, he's trying. He is definitely... Wow, my finger just popped from that. For anybody wondering what that snap sound was, Will Smith is trying. He is definitely like, I'm going to go in there and give her that Will Smith charisma. It's not After Earth Will Smith, where he's like, no, I'm going to be a serious actor and not make any jokes. Like, no, this is old school Will Smith going in there trying to be charismatic. And they definitely went, this is going to be the Deadshot movie.
Yeah, Will Smith is great when he does, like, charismatic characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Will Smith, you have charisma. And I don't know why you view that as a curse. Well, I do, because you don't want to be the Fresh Prince. You don't want to be constantly cast for the rest of your life as the Fresh Prince. You don't want to be, what's that film where he taught Kevin James to dance? What was it? Hitch? Yeah. I didn't see it, but it's like, that's the other thing. Like, he doesn't want to be Hitch. He doesn't want to be the Fresh Prince. I understand that, But you can use that charisma in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for the past 5 years, he's just been going, fine, my charisma gets me those roles, I'm going to shut all charisma down. And I was like, nope, that was not the right choice.
No.
Tell the truth. That was not the right choice. God, that movie was bad too. But yeah, is there any other thoughts that you want to get out before I just go nuts?
I did not care for the Joker. Jared Leto's version was just... He was trying way too hard.
He's just a weird dude. He's not the... This is the best way that I can describe the Joker in this film. The Joker is a guy who, when you see him standing, in a room, or sitting down in a room that you enter, or just anywhere, you're instantly creeped out. You're instantly like, oh, fuck. Someone just walked in my grave. Oh, I just gotta chill. That's the feeling you get from previous incarnations of the Joker, like Mark Hamill's Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, even Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah.
Even I would go with Cesar Romero's from the 1966 cartoon. Not cartoon, but it might as well have been cartoon. Yeah, he wasn't creepy, but he was animated in the correct way to fit that world that they were establishing in that series. In this Joker, if I walked into a subway car late at night and I saw him there, tweaking out like he wasn't here and talking to himself like he was in here and just acting like he wasn't here, I wouldn't even move to the next car. I just put my headphones on and go, God, please just don't let that dude be too much.
No, seriously, every time he was on screen, I felt like I was looking at an advertisement for Hot Topic.
Oh my God! Reaper looks at this dude like, dude, take it down a notch. It's like,
That's pretty much
okay, Captain Tryhard.
That's pretty much from the interviews I've read. That's pretty much how he was on set.
That's the thing about it. Let's talk about that right now. Because we have two different theories on this. By the way, for anybody who's new to the post Geekout reaction, we like to record them on the thinking couch, which is right next to the window that has no sound nullification. So sorry for the sounds of Brooklyn outside, but that's what it's like. Yeah, let's talk about that right now, because we have two different theories on this. Because we've all heard the stories about how he was in dead pigs to Will Smith, and he was putting pictures of dead people on Boomerang's phone. Who played Boomerang? Jared Leto? No, wait, Jared Leto was the Joker. Who was doesn't matter. Yeah, Captain Boomerang said, yeah, I found pictures of. That's Jared Leto right now. He's coming for us. Yeah.
Oh no, he's gonna annoy the shit out of us.
Yeah, it's shut the fuck up. God, yeah, that's the thing about this. This Joker, every fucking second on screen, you're like, someone kick his ass. Someone just punch him in that stupid grill. I had better not go to a con and see someone cosplaying this dude being like, no, this was really the perfect Joker because I will just take that motherfucker down. I will do an Arkham style takedown to that motherfucker. Just creep up behind him and just put him down. All right.
It's a good thing we're not going to Comic-Con this year then.
Yeah, I'm not really excited for Comic-Con this year. But yeah, yeah, we had two different theories on this because there are all those stories about how he was putting pictures of dead people on their phones. He was sending dead pigs to people, and my theory is that either this stuff didn't happen, but the Warner Brothers exec said, we all know the stories about how Heath Ledger was so over the top as the Joker that ended up killing him, so we need to take it even further. So everybody just make up stories to tell the press, and we'll all just go along with it. Or these things actually did happen, and it happened because Warner Brothers execs told Jared Leto, you have to do this so that you can outdo Heath Ledger. You believe he was actually doing this himself.
Yes.
To try and outdo Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
So either way, we both believe that whatever this was spawned from, it was just someone trying to outdo Heath Ledger because everyone said that Heath Ledger was so into that character and he lost himself in that character and that's why he died. Heath Ledger died because he had a drug problem, and it's really fucking offensive that people are taking that and trying to spin it in a way so that it's no man, that's how great the Joker was, and that's how great his performance as the Joker was. No. That was not why he died. No. He died because of drugs, and because he had been doing drugs for a long time, even before he got the Joker role. Don't do drugs, kids. Play the Joker all you want, because the Joker isn't going to do anything to you. Mark Hamill is the best fucking Joker we've ever had. He's just fine. Mm-hmm. He is fine after all these years. In fact, for a dude his age, he looks pretty darn good. So, yeah, this is fucking dumb what they did with that. On and off the screen, what they did with the Joker was stupid.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to get out?
That's pretty much it.
Okay, fuck this movie. Okay, let's start with, I'm just going in any order this comes to me, and again, full spoilers on. the editing in this thing is garbage. I said about the Ghostbusters film that we saw a few weeks ago that it had bad editing. I fully apologize to that film after this. That movie looks like a finely woven silk scarf compared to the chopped up mess that this movie is. And by the way, I just found out, right before we started recording this, that the editing was such a mess because Warner Brothers hired the people who edited together that trailer that everyone loved, the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer. Because everyone loved that, they hired them to come in and re-edit the film that had already been made to make it more like the trailer. And when you watch this, it's like, that makes sense because stuff is just jumping around in here and you have no idea what the fuck is happening. And it's just going, like, this feels like a trailer because in a trailer you just jump from scene to scene to scene quickly with no sense of time or story to tie it all together just to try and make interesting stuff happen. This is nothing but that. It is so many times in which things just move from one spot to another. Like the Enchantress. By the way, the Enchantress betrays the team immediately before the team even comes together.
Yes.
Like, for anybody who thought the Joker was going to be the villain, the Joker is a minor supporting character. Everything you have seen in that trailer, that's all you get.
It's all lies.
That's it. Everything you saw in the trailer, that is all you get of the Joker. Just those scenes, maybe a little bit more in that specific scene. That is all you get. Because the Enchantress is the main villain. The Enchantress betrays the team immediately. Just one, because she is possessing this woman, something Moon, I don't even give a shit.
June
Moon, yeah. She's possessing this archaeologist, and Captain Flag fell in love with this woman, and that's why he's on the team to make sure that she's protected. And it was like, dude, that is the reason why he's on this team. Like, you could not have, like, written Amanda Waller making a really convincing speech. Like, this week, the new Suicide Squad comic came out. And in it, they introduced the new version of Rick Flag. And he's in prison because he's actually in Guantanamo. It's actually an awesome story. He's in Guantanamo because his squad was going to be sent on a suicide mission. And he looked at it and went, this will gain us nothing, and we're all going to die. There's no way to win this. I'm not sending my team on this. And his commanding officer took it as a personal offense, so he pulled some favors with people above him and had him pulled from all records and sent to Guantanamo so nobody knew where he was. Nobody knew, like, what happened to him. He just disappeared off the radar, and he was just suffering there in prison. Amanda Waller pops up and goes, listen, you care about your team. And I need somebody who cares about their team to lead mine. And I know that they're all crazy. I know that I'm sending them on suicide missions, but there is stuff out there that is constantly going down. There are bombs always on this planet ready to explode at any moment. If you want to save lives, I need someone like you to go in there and make sure that this squad gets home because you're the guy who cares about that. He's in love with this woman and she's under control of Amanda Waller, so he has to be there. I was like, that is bullshit. That is dumb. But okay, as I was saying about the editing, she's got the Enchantress under her control because she found her heart in a cave. And the Enchantress one night just wakes up, overtakes June, I'm sorry, why do I keep calling her Steve Trevor? Rick Flag looks at her and goes, what are you doing? Which is like pretty much his entire character throughout this. And then she just instantly disappears, goes to Amanda Waller's secret base, finds her brother who is entombed in this thing that she's just keeping around on her desk, and then immediately grabs that, pops to another location, has it possess some other dude, then immediately in the next scene, he's destroying shit. Her brother is destroying shit. Immediately in the next scene, Rick Flag is there with the Enchantress going through the sewers, and I'm like, this feels like it happened in 5 minutes. How did you get over there? You were just in your bed at night. Where are you right now? Like, she went, possessed this dude. He immediately started destroying stuff, and now in 5 minutes, they're there where this is happening. It's like, this really just doesn't, it feels like there was so much there that was happening. And then, like, when they do get the squad together, they go, 3 days ago, a meta-human started destroying this part of town. I was like, 3 days ago? It feels like that happened an hour ago. This whole movie is just chopped going non-stop. And because of that, in almost every goddamn scene, like 90% of the scenes, there was something that made me go, why is that? Wait, where did this come from? Like, and it's small stuff. It is small stuff So a lot of this is nitpicking, but when it's 90% of the goddamn scenes, it will drive you insane. And that's what it did to me by the end of this film. I was going nuts.
Basically, this movie has ADHD.
It does. Oh my god, it does. Like, here's an example of what I mean. Okay, again, full spoilers on, but like, there is a scene where they just start destroying all these faceless charcoal people. Which, by the way, for anybody who's about to come in here and go, oh, you didn't like this because it was too dark and you don't like dark things, Batman vs. Superman was darker than this. Batman killed more people in this film than Deadshot did. Because almost everybody that they attack are just weird charcoal zombies that just disappear as soon as they attack them. And I'm like, this is the fucking Suicide Squad. It's like, for real? Like, that's, oh my god. Alright. Yeah, this film was not dark enough, was one of the big problems with it. Like, this is the most cheesed down thing you could have done to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, like, I thought, like, Suicide Squad, I think, like, you know, people going to, like, dark missions and, like, you know, like a lot of psychotic, you know, mental stuff going on.
Really, like...
But no, we have supernatural beings taking over the world. Like, what?
You had the Destroyer from Thor popping up, because he looks like that. He looks exactly like the Destroyer from Thor with a headdress on. That's all that he was.
It's like they just... it's like they took the plot of Avengers Age of Ultron and made it stupider.
And took out all the things that made that movie work.
Yes.
And one of the things that she means by that is, this is something that I brought up and drove me insane when it happened in the film, is that the Enchantress just betrays them right at the start, creates this monster. Then when they go in and tell the Enchantress, okay, you have to stop him, she then betrays them at that spot, goes to her brother and goes, you have to help me, and then he like rips out her heart so that Amanda Waller can't use it to control her anymore. And then she just starts going, I'm finally free, and she starts destroying the entire planet. And then they have to send a Suicide Squad in to rescue Amanda Waller. When they find Amanda Waller, she goes, you have to admit, Flag, my plan works. I was like, fuck you, this whole thing is your fault because your plan didn't work. By the way, I spat all over the camera with that.
Like, when flying over the camera, I saw it.
Man, you know I'm passionate when that happened. Like, this entire thing is your fault. Everybody says Age of Ultron was Tony Stark's fault. Hey man, Ultron was at least neutral when he was created. Enchantress was pure evil from the start, and she was like, yeah, I'm just going to leave her heart right here next to a ball containing her brother's spirit. I'm sure nothing will happen from that.
No, it's like she encased her heart, but she left the statue containing her brother on a shelf, completely unprotected. Like, oh, nothing bad is going to happen to the statue.
And then she was like, okay, she can turn into the Enchantress at any time when none of us are supervising her. Maybe I shouldn't just allow her to just roam free with Flag when she's in her human form. It's like, not gonna like put a bomb in her neck as well with any of this. It's like, this is the dumbest goddamn plan. Oh my god. But I mean, okay, when I talk about all the editing and stuff just constantly, that's my phone, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Alright, be right back. Okay, sorry about that, folks, but hey, part of the charm of the post-Geekout reactions is how unprofessional it is. So, anyway, the editing on this thing. Alright, as I said, I just found out today that this film was already edited out, it was already done, then Warner Bros. Was like, you know what? People really like that trailer so much, let's get the people who edited that trailer to come in and re-edit this whole thing. Like, for anybody out there who heard those stories about, oh, they went back and shot more scenes for this thing to make it more funny, and David Ayer, the director, came out and said, no, we didn't. Yeah, you fucking did. You just weren't told about it. Because, yeah, that's what this was. They were going back in there and creating new stuff to add in here for this new edit of it. And David Ayer himself came out and said, this is not the film that I made. If you have the director of the film saying that on the opening goddamn weekend, not a good sign. And yeah, you can just tell that this thing was edited together because there are so many things in here. And like I said, they're nitpicks. I wanted to get into this, but they are nitpicks about every single scene, and they don't seem big, but they just add and add and add. Like, there's a moment in which the weird charcoal creatures are attacking, and then out of nowhere you just see Captain Boomerang just drink that beer like he does in the trailer. It's like, where the fuck did you get a beer from? Where did
I just
that...
assume he stole it.
like,
That's what he does.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll let that pass. Then there's a moment later where he gets shot in the chest, and then he opens up his chest, and he pulls out like a wad of money. I was like, where the fuck did that money come from? It's like, okay, I guess you just grabbed it off screen or whatever. And then he's got like a pink unicorn. In most of the scenes, it's like, why do you have a pink unicorn? Never fucking explained.
No, but when they like to do the intro.
Yeah, when they do their Overwatch play of the game intros.
Yeah, it's like there was like a little thing at the bottom for Captain Boomerang fetish pink unicorns.
But that means nothing. Like it says fetish pink unicorns. Like, okay, so that will be a joke. And then when they give them their gear, he's got a pink unicorn in there. He goes and puts it in his like coat pocket, and then that's it. That's fucking, like, that's all you get. It's like, okay, so there's no joke for it. That's a setup, not a punchline.
You know, you mentioned that this movie has characters. I don't think they're characters. I think they're just gags or
Concepts.
like quips.
That's a good way of putting it. A lot of people in here are like a concept that does not get fleshed out. But
they're like catchphrases, living catchphrases. They're only there just to like pop up, say something funny or do something funny, and that's it.
A lot of them are. I will say that. Some of them they try with, but a lot of them are. But yeah, going back to that editing, like there's so many things in there that just... Some of them I don't know whether to blame the editing or the writing. I don't, because there's some in there, like I said, those were like 3 small examples. 90% of the scenes have something like that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Deadshot just found out that his child has been riding him all this time. He's very happy. Now he's angry. Now he's happy again. It's like, what? Are you bipolar? What's happening? Or this is the one that drove me fucking nuts. Harley Quinn. The Joker just pops up to rescue Harley Quinn. Like, the Joker is like a gnat flying around this film. Like, there is a goal over there, and he just keeps popping up here and there, and it's like, dude, you're not adding anything to this. You're just distracting us from the main goal. No one wants you here. And he then pops up and has one of his tech guys deactivate the bomb in her neck, and she runs up to join them and to jump on the plane with him. And then they're trying to blow her head up, and it's like, no, it's deactivated. And then there comes a scene later when they're all in the bar, and Rick Flag goes, you know what, fuck it. And he just takes a little thing off and destroys it and goes, there, you're all free. Now the bombs won't work. And Harley is the one that goes, huh? And she goes up to the mirror like, is it really gone? It's like, your bomb was already deactivated. You're the one person in this room who shouldn't be acting like that. This is... Like, I don't know whether or not to blame the writing or if there was some scene that explained it coming back on that they just cut out.
Or I think that maybe it was just like awkwardly edited or something.
Well, that's exactly what I just said. It's like, I don't know if it's the writer forgot this, if the director forgot and it wasn't in the script but he had her do it anyways, or if there was a scene that explained it and they just edited it completely out.
It's like, hey, do something random because you're Harley Quinn.
That's what, I'm sorry, Harley sucks in this.
Yeah.
I hated Harley, and it's like, her lines are all awful. I cannot name a single line in here that I thought was good from her. And they're all Hot Topic lines. They are all like things you would see on a t-shirt at Hot Topic, but not like the clever ones. Like, I'll admit, I've gone to Hot Topic before, and it's like, oh, sure, it's not bad, it's okay. But then you'll see those one shirts, and it's just text up there, and it's like, who the fuck thinks that's clever? All her lines are like this. Like when Katana gets introduced, she goes, what's that perfume? The scent of death? And I was like, wow. Pause for applaud. Crickets. I didn't hear the audience laugh at one of her jokes. God, she is such a like, Margot Robbie should be Harley Quinn. She's a perfect cast for this. But wow.
They completely wasted her.
They did not know how to write Harley Quinn. Like, when Deadpool was coming out, I said I was very concerned about that film. Because when it comes to Deadpool, there's 2 ways you can write him. You can write him well, and in that case, he is a very funny character who is very developed, but is also witty and clever and charming. Or you can write him poorly, and he is just a non-stop quip machine who gets really on your nerves and has no layers. That's what they did with Harley Quinn in here. Deadpool movie, they got it right. This is what they do with Harley Quinn. And there was one moment where they try and shove some depth into her, where she has a flashback of her being, thrown into the ace chemicals by the Joker. And then she goes, and then she turns to Deadshot and goes, have you ever been in love? And I was like, why do I give a shit about you? Like, I know that the Joker-Harley relationship is abusive. why am I supposed to look at you like you're actually caring about and feel bad for you? Like, if you reflected back on that moment and instead you felt sad about it, instead she feels sad that she's not with the Joker. And I was like, I'm sorry. For anybody out there who is like, man, my one concern is don't screw up the Joker-Harley relationship. Don't portray that poorly. I made a video after one of those trailers in which I came out and went, guys, don't worry, it's me. I'm the guy who's known for looking at trailers and picking them apart to tell you all the little stuff that's in there. Yeah, I do that quite well. So trust me, guys. You see that scene where the Joker drives the car into the water and Harley is left in there and Batman has to go and save her? That's gonna be the moment in which she goes, maybe the Joker doesn't really care about me, and she has all this doubt, and then you're gonna see the Joker being abusive to her, and then she's gonna rise up, and the climax of this film is her standing up to the Joker. None of that shit happens.
Nope.
She is 100% in love with this dude, and they portray it like, yay, isn't this great? They fuck this thing all up. They fuck this thing sideways. It is so bad. And I've seen so many people online saying, you know what, I really appreciate what they do with this because they didn't portray it like an abusive relationship. They portrayed it like they were two crazy people who happen to be in love. And it's like,
you're missing the point.
The Joker, yeah. The Joker isn't nearly as abusive to her in this film as he is in the comics. I will admit that. However, there is a moment in which he is just flat out saying, subject yourself to me, like basically give in to me, and like basically saying be my slave and do whatever I want.
I feel the Joker said this Joker was acting more like a pimp.
Yeah, he is totally a pimp in it. He absolutely is. But again, even if they didn't at all have any of those scenes in there, like there's a moment in which he just gives her to like some random thing. He's like, this is my gift to you, and she's like, oh yay! It's like, yeah, he is like a pimp.
Yeah.
But even if he was not being portrayed at all abusive, and it was 100% they are madly in love and they're just two crazy people in love, Harley Quinn is one of those characters who has a purpose. She is a character that represents something. That's one of the amazing things about so many characters that stand the test of time and strike a personal chord with so many people out there, is that they represent something bigger than themselves. And Harley Quinn is one of those characters. Harley Quinn represents women who have been in abusive relationships, and even guys. I'll say that too. Like, guys can be in abusive relationships as well, and you can look at Harley Quinn and see some of that in there too. Like, I would say that she is, appeals more to women who have been in abusive relationships, but I think really anybody who's in an abusive relationship can look at that and see her as the character who eventually did stand up to the Joker because she realized she was in an abusive relationship. And even if she didn't realize she was in an abusive relationship, whenever the Joker is abusive to her, like even in the stories in which the two of them are together, she would realize that was a terrible thing. She would like have that moment where she'd be like, oh no, and like she would get depressed and down on herself, and like she would actually have to wonder, is like, does he actually care about me? There's none of that in this, and it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, that thing that she represents is important. That person in the abusive relationship who deals with it, gets over it, or at least goes through it, and at least struggles through it, and you see that struggle as she tries to overcome it. That is an important thing. That is something that she represents. They just took it out here, just ripped that up. It's like, nope, that has no place in this DCEU. Oh my god. Okay, so Harley just completely screwed up. But yeah, let's get into this. This is one of my biggest problems with this film. And we've been bringing this up all throughout this, but let's go ahead and talk about it right now. I've heard so many people say, it's like, they focus a lot on Deadshot, but the main appeal of this, it's the squad. I've heard so many critics go, the strongest part of this, it's the squad, and them being together. The squad sucks.
Yeah.
This is the Deadshot movie with a Harley Quinn subplot. No one else fucking matters.
Yeah, pretty much.
At all.
I mean, there was supposed to be the big fight at the end where, like, El Diablo, like, shows his true strength.
El Diablo at the end, I will say this, El Diablo at the end has one moment that's good, in which he is reflecting back on his history.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's it. We finally got some character from you. That's it. Because, I mean, this is El Diablo. I don't want to hurt people anymore. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm going to die in peace. And I was like, that's actually good. I wonder if they'll explore that. They have one battle in which he doesn't do anything, and they're like, why didn't you do anything? It's like, I don't do that anymore. Next battle, come on, man. Come on, fight. Come on, fight. Final fight. Blah! You're the worst pacifist ever. This is your second fight, and you caved. And all he did was slap you in the face. It was not even slap you, tap you on the forehead a couple times, and he goes, ah! Like, all right. And I mean, like, yeah, they don't really do squat with you. You barely say anything. Like, there's moments in which he speaks up, and I was like, oh yeah, right, you can talk. I forgot that.
I felt like that with the
Killer Croc. Yeah, that was the other guy I was going to bring up with. By the way, first off, I'm glad Killer Croc didn't talk because he sounded like he had fake Dracula teeth in his mouth the whole time. It's like, there are moments in which he says things, and I'm like, what? Speak up, huh? Take those out of your mouth. Have someone come back and ADR this in. Because, I'm sorry, that should not have been in-game dialogue. That should not have been...
Someone redub it with Sean Connery's voice like they did with the Bane.
With Bane? Yeah, he was kind of Sean Connery. No, I'm beautiful. He is, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to say he's bad, but he's non-existent in this film. Like, him, Diablo, Katana... Katana's the worst.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't even say Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang is there for like maybe 2 jokes, and that's it. And it's like, Captain Boomerang and Harley, I gotta bring this up. They have no reason to be on that squad. None at all. Because Harley, the reason why she's on the squad in the comics is because she's a genius. Is because she is incredibly smart and she's able to use her mind on these missions. Never at all happens in this. Her job on this team is to do a flip and punch someone with a bat. And I'm like, you have soldiers, trained soldiers there with way higher caliber weapons. You could have just taken her off the squad and replaced her with another nameless soldier. Way better use of that slot. So she has no point on this team. And Captain Boomerang, his job is he throws badass boomerangs and does cool shit with that. You know how everybody's like, how can a guy with a bow and arrow be effective? And then you see Hawkeye in the Avengers and like, oh god damn, that's why he's on this team. Captain Boomerang, you see him throw 3 arrows and 3 boomerangs in this. First one is in the flashback, which I'm glad that the Flash was in that flashback because I was really afraid that they were going to have Batman catch all these guys. But he throws a boomerang at someone, hits him in the back of the head. The boomerang falls to the ground, and I was like, so you could just throw a rock. You could just throw a rock. There was no point to, like, that boomerang doesn't even work. Like, the thing with Captain Boomerang is he hits someone with it, and then it comes back to him.
That's the whole point of a boomerang.
Another time, he's just slashing people with boomerangs there in his hands. Never throws them. Ever. Just slashing them with his hands. Then he throws one boomerang that has a camera on it, so they watch it, and then they take it down. It's like, oh, that was no good. I was like, then, okay, so you gain nothing from that. And then in the final battle, he throws one boomerang at a guy 2 feet from him and explodes in his face and does no damage. And I was like, you had no purpose on this team at all. And I was like, God. So yeah, there's no point in them being on the team. But just speaking as far as like personality, Captain Boomerang has a few good jokes, but again, he barely does anything in the squad. Like they barely focus on him ever. Slipknot, dude, we all knew Slipknot was going to die. We all knew he was going to be the first one to die. Every single character on this team gets their Overwatch play the game intro in which it like comes up and like gives their name and then you have the doo-doo-doo
and like their status and everything.
Of their stats, which I thought that was actually cool. I did enjoy that. I'll say that.
That was a
cool.
nice little animation.
That was cool. I really dug that. After they went through all of them, I went, wait, where's Slipknot? Slipknot was supposed to be on this team too. Where's Slipknot? He literally pops up after the team is all formed and they go, oh, and here's Slipknot. He's the guy who can climb anything. I was like, dude, we all knew he was going to be the first to die. Did you even care about trying to convince us of this? Did you even try for a second to come in here and go, no, he's actually going to be part of the team there? Like, this to me feels like another thing that was left on the editing floor. It feels like he had other scenes in here and they were like, nobody cares about Slipknot.
I don't even know if like Katana had like an intro.
Katana is the other one. Katana.
She just like shows up on the plane when everyone else got assembled. It's like, oh, by the way, this is Katana.
She is such a waste of a character.
She is, and it's a shame too.
Yeah, because I mean, she's like badass. She's got a sword that sucks souls in it. She's an expert samurai.
Oh yeah, it's like there's only 2 mentions of her. It's like one when they introduce her, and like one near the end where she talks to the sword. And he's like, oh, by the way, her husband's soul is strapped in that sword, so that's why she's talking to it. Okay, let's move on.
It's like, that would have been a neat thing to deal with.
Yes, that would have been an awesome flashback instead of showing her, like, killing everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, her, Diablo, and Killer Croc were the 3 people who, whenever they spoke in this thing, I was like, oh my god, I forgot you were here. I was like, it's like when someone sneaks up on you, it's like, oh fuck, okay, jeez, man. It's like, yeah, I literally forgot those characters were in this movie. And the only reason I remembered Captain Boomerang was there was because I kept looking at him like, are you gonna do something? You gotta do something at all? Like, they at least would put the camera on him. They only put the camera on those other guys in action scenes, and the action is so just bland and forgettable in this. It could have been anybody. It could have been anybody. It all just blends together. But yeah, so Diablo has that one nice moment. And they just turned into a giant demon out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, this is the moment that this movie just didn't give a fuck. This is the moment that they didn't care.
It's like, hey, see, he lives up to his name, because Diablo is Spanish for devil.
Which, by the way, I gotta point this out. So many people applauded the image of this when it went up for the first time, because they said, like, Marvel doesn't put any people of color in their movies, or any women in their movies. This one promo image for this one team has more people of color and more women in it than any other Marvel film out there combined. And I was looking at it, I was like, that's true. And Marvel does need to work on that. That is a big problem with Marvel, and I've criticized Marvel for this many times. However, everybody in that promo image is a sociopathic gang leader or murderer. It's like, I don't know if that's the best representation, but I held off because I was like, you know what, maybe when we see this, it'll be different. Every single person in here who is a person of color is a horrible racist stereotype. Like, even Will Smith, he's like, man, you gotta go and slap your bitch on the ass, tell her who's boss. I was like, what the fuck? And like, so he's a racist stereotype, Katana's a racist stereotype.
Yeah, silent, Katana's like these silent Asian ninja stereotypes.
Yeah. And she has no personality beyond that. Like she said, the way Katana's introduced in here, the team was assembled, they were flying off, and I was like, where the fuck is Katana? How have we not been introduced? She just jumps on the plane like it's a Super Smash Bros. Intro. Katana cuts into the scene, and then you get a minute of her cutting up Yakuza guys and going, you killed my husband! And it's like, that's it. That's all we get of her. That's it. That is all we get. And I was like, wow. So yeah, her Diablo is a horrible racist stereotype. And then, again, just this morning, I swear to you this is true, I don't know if you've heard this one yet, the executive producer on this film is Donald Trump's biggest fundraiser.
Yeah, I heard about that. So
the moment that happened, I look back at the way that they represented every person of color in here. I was like, oh my god, fuck you. Oh, get the fuck out. Oh, that genuinely made me want to go back and get my money back. Like, I don't know if you can get your money back 12 hours after you've seen a movie, but that genuinely made me go, dude, I don't want to, like, point conspiracy stuff on this, but I would not be shocked if that dude was like, no, make him more like what white people fear. Make El Diablo more of a Latin gang leader. Make him an actual demon. All right, it's like, god damn it. By the way, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we just saw a horrible racist stereotype in this film who was a Latin guy that controlled fire and was connected to demons. You better nail it with Ghost Rider. You got Robbie Reyes as your Ghost Rider. I totally applaud you for that. You better nail it after I saw El Diablo on this. Like, you gotta make up for their mistake on this. God damn. That made me genuinely angry because it made me look at this rather than just being like, well, yeah, because before I wasn't even really thinking like, well, they're racist stereotypes. I was thinking that, but I was like, yeah, but maybe that's just me seeing something that's not there. Maybe that's me, because I'm constantly, I live on Tumblr, so I'm constantly thinking about this stuff. So I was like, maybe that's just in my head. Maybe I'm just misinterpreting this. Maybe I'm thinking of stuff that isn't there. But then after I found that out, I was like, I think something was there. I think something was in this movie. I'm not going to bring that up in the review, simply because that's conspiracy theory shit at that point. And also because there's other shit that needs to be complained about in this film. But yeah, so that was my biggest complaint, is that you have to sell this squad. You did not sell a squad. You sold Deadshot, a little bit of Harley Quinn. I go with Amanda Waller too.
Yeah, she was pretty bad.
Amanda Waller's pretty cool. It was like, but as I said, she doesn't even really have good lines. It's just Viola Davis working her ass off in this film. Viola Davis is in my top 2 to play Amanda Waller, and after seeing this, I was like, I was right to put her up there. Yeah. And my other on that top 2 list is the lady who played her in the Justice League cartoon. So I was like, all right, I got both of them in there. So, but yeah, I was genuinely just pissed at this film. Because it's just such a jumbled mess. And a lot of that is the editing. Like, a huge chunk of this is the editing. And before, I was so angry at the editors, but after I heard the story today about how Warner Brothers just came in and just hired on new people to re-edit this thing that was done, and it totally makes sense now. Now I'm like, I'm not even mad at the people who worked on this film, because who knows what this film was. I'm mad at Warner Brothers.
No, that's the director's cut I'd like to see.
That's the thing. Everybody's been saying, hey man, you need to watch the Batman vs Superman cut, and I was like, when it eventually gets down to like $5 on like on demand, then I will watch that 3-hour long director's cut. I'm not paying $20 to $30 to watch that director's cut. This thing already took enough of my money. However, this one, I know there is going to be the David Ayers cut of this. That is without that second edit going through, and with all these additional scenes in there, and the extra scenes they shot taken out. I do want to see this. However, even then, I would be stunned if it could like make this good, like passable. I think you could make it passable.
Yeah.
But there is just so much. I'm getting so angry, I'm hiccuping. This hasn't happened since I watched Battleship. Yeah, that was the time in which I edited, in which I ranted so much. I went, you know what, maybe I'm too angry at these things. Maybe I need to chill out. Yeah, Battleship almost made me puke in anger. But yeah, I do think that there is a passable film probably in here, because it is so rare that you can look at an editing job and go, this just fucked everything up. This is just garbage what you did with this. However, even then, the final showdown with the Enchantress is terrible, and the Enchantress herself is just a horrible villain.
Yeah.
Like, she, beyond any, like, listen, I love the Marvel films, but I will gladly admit only about half their villains are good. The other half are kind of crap. She's worse than any of them. She is just terrible. God. I think I've used up all my anger. I feel like I've just drained it all out. I kind of feel exhausted. Is there anything that we didn't really cover on this?
The licensing, the licensed music.
God. How did I forget? Every moment in which someone is not talking, a licensed song comes on. And at first I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, all right, thank you, Car Outside, for demonstrating the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first couple times that happened, I was like, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm enjoying this. Oh, I like that song too. Oh yeah, this switches tone. Okay, there's another one. Okay, all right. And there came a point in which they were suiting up, and Real Slim Shady started playing.
No, it's
and I leaned over to you and I said, if they do one more of these, I can't take it. Because it pulls you out of the film after a point. Like, there's so many in there. It's overdone. Yeah, I forgot about that. I got so angry at the other stuff. But yeah, they really wanted this to be their Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. You could tell. But think about this. How many people were in this movie? You had Rick Flag. You had Rick Flag, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang. I'm not counting Slipknot. You had them. You had Katana. You had, let's see, El Diablo. You had Killer Croc. The fact that I know I'm forgetting someone and I don't care says how little impact
Would
these
the
guys
Enchantress count or no?
Nah, I'm counting her as the villain. She's
Okay.
flat out the villain the whole time. By the way, the fact that the Enchantress, like, June Moon lives at the end of this, fuck you for that. Fuck you. Like, this whole thing is like, how dare you give anyone a happy ending at the end of this? After all the shit that went down.
Oh, but we needed an excuse for Captain Flag to stay on the team.
Oh, God, you're right. Yeah, why would you be on the team on this? But yeah, the fact that it's like, there's 7 right there that I named, and I know there's an 8th that I'm not even remembering, because they're so unimportant. Think about Guardians of the Galaxy. 5 people, so pretty close to that same number. Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, Rocket. You get so much background and a feeling for each of them and a personality from each of them and shared screen time, and you feel them coming together and bonding. In this movie, this is the thing that just, I'm done, and I fucking hate this film. I legitimately hate this film. It's that so many of the people on this team don't interact at all. Mm-hmm. Like, they have no interactions at all, and yet at the end of this is like, El Diablo's going, no, I lost one family. I'm not losing another family. Like, why are they your family? You've been with them for an hour, maybe tops, and they've all been giving you shit this whole time. Your interaction with all of them has been Captain Boomerang saying, "Why didn't you fight with us?" And then Deadshot tapping you on the head repeatedly until you freaked out. And then Harley Quinn going, "You're a bad guy. Stop trying to be nice. Just be a bad guy." That is literally all the interactions he has with anyone in this. And he's like, "This is my family. Fuck you." And
Like there was that scene, there was that bar scene, and it's like
that's kind of a nice scene. We
Yes.
needed way more of that.
Yes, like basically, like Deadshot finds out about Enchantress and all that shit. So
By the way,
it's
that
like,
was another editing thing that drove me nuts. He finds a folder this thick with all their info on it. 2 seconds later, they're down the block. He runs up, throws it at him, and goes, "Why don't you tell the truth?" It's like, how the fuck did you read all that? It's like, I know you have great eyesight. Are you a speed reader too? Just like, oh my god, I read 5 pages of this thing. I can easily catch up to them. Oh my god, another stupid thing.
yeah, but like after that bar scene, which was nice and I wish went on longer, they're like, oh, like we gotta finish what we started. It's like, or some shit.
Why do you
like,
give a shit?
it's like we have nothing better to do. Let's do something. It's like
That was another thing that I really felt they really cheesed out on this. Is
Yeah.
that it's like, they're like, well, we gotta give them a heart of gold so that they're likable. It's like, these need to be villains. They need to be assholes. They need to be monsters that you can root for, but you root for them because they're in a situation they can't escape from. They're in a situation that's like, you need to root for them because they got those bombs in their neck, and it's like, okay, you gotta do the impossible. You're in a shit situation, but you got a good personality. So even if you're a bad guy, I like that personality. And hey, I've been in shit situations where I had to do something I didn't want to do. I can relate with that. I can connect on this. It's like, nope, they got hard gold. They're all misunderstood.
no, it's like Captain Flag went because he wants to save his girl. Everyone else just tagged along because fuck it's fuck if I know.
It's like, I get, yeah, exactly. It's like, well, the world's being destroyed. It's like, one of you were caught by a guy who can run at the speed of light, and Amanda Waller has files on that. No one's just gonna not like call him up and just go, "Hey, Flash, get over here." We have files on a dude who like is king of the seas. Nobody's gonna like ask him. There was a lady who was literally going in and fighting a giant rock golem with none bracelets and a lasso. Who cares if Superman is dead? You can stop this with just them. It's like, you know these guys already exist. I have no idea why the villains in this would go, "Cool, I'm out." It's like, my favorite thing in this movie, favorite thing in this film, is when he goes, "Yeah, you guys can leave if you want. The bomb is gone. You no longer have to be here." And Captain Boomerang just runs off screen. I'm like, thank you. But then 5 seconds later, he comes back and he's with a beer and he's like, "No, I'm going to join you guys." Like, there's no reason for you to join this team again. Are you mean to tell me you just ran out there to get a beer? You're in a bar. You could have grabbed one there. It's like, yeah, it's like, dude, if Captain Boomerang had just left, and like, they did like some joke where he just ran on the street, he's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty," and then one of like Enchantress's giant like tentacle thing just came in and destroyed him right there. Like, that would have been a great scene. And you would have been able to go, "These guys are assholes. I get it now." And also then you would have had like a reason for them to go, "None of us are getting out here alive unless we stop her," right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you all could have escaped easily. But
It's like that's another thing. It's like that, like the Suicide Squad was just fine doing their own thing. Meanwhile, the Enchantress is like raining lightning down on other parts of the world and destroying shit. And it's like, no, we don't care.
yeah, exactly. Like, and when they go to the Enchantress and goes, "I can give you everything that you want. All you have to do is serve me." And like Harley Quinn's like, "That's great, but you mess with my friends." It's like, they're not your friends. None of them like, yeah, like I said, my biggest problem with this thing is that you get no sense of camaraderie between them. Like, Deadshot cares about his daughter. His daughter, number one, that is the biggest thing to him, the most important. She goes, when Harley Quinn is escaping, she goes, Amanda Waller goes, "You kill Harley Quinn, your sentence is gone, and you get full custody of your daughter." He's aiming the gun at her, and he misses on purpose. It's like, why? She's done nothing but just break bad quips all throughout this. You've had barely any interactions. The only interactions you had is when she called you a pussy for putting the mask on, and then she said, "Have you ever been in love?" And you went, "Nah, I've never been in love." It's like, that's all your interactions throughout this film. But suddenly you care so much about her, you're willing to give up custody of your daughter for this and stay in prison for her so that she can escape. It's like, I do not believe this for a second. And then, but they all seem to have like a love for Harley Quinn in this. And there came a moment when they're in the bar when Captain Boomerang says, "Lady, you might be beautiful on the outside, but you're ugly on the inside." And I went, I'm so glad you finally said that, because it's the only explanation for why this team, where almost everyone is a dude, likes Harley Quinn for no reason. It's because they all think she's hot. That's the only possible explanation.
Yes, once again, the sexy only female, sexy.
Again, we all fucking forgot Katana was on this scene.
Yes.
We all forgot that she was there. It's like, yeah, the only woman. Oh, yeah, right, Katana. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's like Harley's basically supposed to be like, has become like the pinup of DC. So like, oh yeah, there's also Katana, but fuck her. It's all about Harley.
I'm so nervous about Wonder Woman now. I really am. Like, I looked at that, I was like, okay, Zack Snyder is not involved in this. David Goyer is not involved in this at all. But after hearing about how Warner Bros. Just fucked this thing up, and all this stuff was from them, they're still the ones doing Wonder Woman. And I'm like, when we talked about Batman vs. Superman, we did a Q&A, and people asked, even if you didn't like Batman vs. Superman, what DC films are you excited for? And I said, I'm literally excited for everything that Zack Snyder isn't working on. Like, literally any of the other films aside from Justice League, I'm super excited about. They got me super excited about them. But after seeing this and what a mess it is, and knowing that it was the studio that was at fault for so many of the problems with it, and they're going to be the same studio working on all these movies, dude, you have to win me back. Like before, I was giving you the benefit of the doubt on Batman vs. Superman. Man, you no longer get that. You are at negative points now. You gotta work your way back up to being neutral. If Wonder Woman is great, you're back to 0. That's where you are right now. Yeah, I'm genuinely pissed at this film. And I know that a large part of that is just because I looked at this thing like, this is gonna be the one that fixes it. This is gonna be the savior of DC. And then I saw those reviews, and I dropped my expectations way down. And even with my expectations way down, I was pissed at this. So, yeah. Any final closing comments?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm tired of talking about this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm tired. As I said, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm working on getting my new computer up and running, so I don't know when that review will actually be able to be up, but it should be soon. I'm going to work hard to try and get everything back on schedule for you guys. But there's no way that I couldn't go without talking about this film. So thank you guys for watching. Come back next time.
Bye.
Bye. So tired.